Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon once again. On behalf of entire Mastek Managed Services team, we'd like to welcome you all to this 23C Cloud Financial Advisory webinar session. This important session is to keep you fully synchronized with the new features and functionalities as a part of this course release which Oracle provides. My name is Hardik Patel, and I'm an operations manager here at Mastek Managed Services team. Today, I'm your host for this session. I'm glad to introduce my colleague, Kanika Kachpalia, who's part of our vast finance team at Mastek. Today, she'll take us through all the cloud financial updates for 23C course release. Before we move to the agenda, let's have a quickly look at the disclaimer, please. We also have a panelist available, Meenakshi, who's also a senior member of our finance team. You can ask any questions through chat or question panel. This session will be around 45 to 60 minutes, and we'll also make sure that we answer on any questions you may have. We would like to convey your approach towards Oracle updates in a very simpler method. We'll be taking you through item analysis for the 23C updates done by our experts, which will help you incorporating new features and updates easily into your system. Also, we will sync you on any bugs or known issues if there are any. It's good to have an interactive session. So as mentioned, we have panelists available. Please do ask questions through chat or question panel. This is to give you a glimpse on how we have crafted the structure of this session. So first thing what you see is list of new features coming into 23C, detailing on features, so you have a brief understanding on what new features are all about. And there are 4 components. The third one is next business benefits, an important takeaway for you as a decision maker. And then we go to the important 4 components where we have done in-depth analysis of the feature which we're going to present to you today. The first one is going to be the impact level analysis. If it's a low impact, then regression testing can be avoided. If it's a high impact, then we need to offer regression testing. And the second one, which is we all are aware that there are some features which are by default auto-enabled by Oracle, and there's some which we need to opt for. And the third one highlights the nature of the feature. There would be certain configuration which may be required, and some can be require some changes, some can be used without any changes at all. And last one, which is a quick win. This term is simply used to convey that what is ready to use by investing minimum amount of time and what requires significant amount of time and efforts to make use of this feature. We won't take more time of yours, and immediately I'll be handing over to my colleague, and she'll be taking you through today's session. Thank you so much. And Kanika, over to you. Please unmute, and the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Hardik. Good morning or good evening, as per your respective time zones. I am Kanika Katpalia, a part of UK Finance team, and today I'll take you through the latest features released in Oracle 23C upgrade. So firstly, let's have a quick overview of statistics of the new features. So there are in total 19 new features in this release. 12 are quick wins, 3 are opt-ins, and 4 are not quick wins, which means 12 are default features, 3 needs to be enabled, and 4 require more significant configurations, time, and our effort to enable these. Let's jump on to our first category of features, which are quick wins. So the first feature in this category is from the common area, which is simplified workflow rules configuration. Now we can create payables invoice approval rules and general ledger approval rules using a spreadsheet. We can download the template via manage workflow approval rules in spreadsheet to create or manage workflow approval rules as per the policies of the business. This feature was actually introduced in 18C and is now advanced in 23C upgrade. So for example, we can define customized rules with more flexibility and customizations, and more conditions and functions can be now be used. Rules can be created for specific business units, and disabled rules will not actually affect the approval process. Users will require financial application administrator role for this feature to get enabled. The second feature is from budgetary control, which is budget balance type classification for carry forward of funds available and purchase orders. For carry forward of budgets for funds available and purchase order obligation, budget amounts can be classified as initial budgets or the budget revision. For carry forward of funds available, we will run the process and select target as initial if we need to update the initial budget balances, or budget revision, which updates the budget adjustment balances. Similarly, for carry forward of purchase order budget balances, we will need to run the process and similarly classify the target as a initial budget or the budget revision as shown in the screenshot below. And to access this feature, we will need to have the budget manager role. The third feature is again from the budgetary control module, which is simplified creation and maintenance of control budget supplemental rules. We can create new supplemental rules by simply copying the existing one created in the control budget. This helps to easy creation of control budgets. To create this, we need to go to the control budget and click on copy button and edit the copy rule and save and close. So by default, the rule is saved with the name copy of at the instance, and enable button is unchecked. It is recommended by Oracle to change the rule name and enable the rule to carry forward this feature. The next feature is column attribute change in journals report. Now attribute actual underscore flag is renamed as balance type. If we view journals report in CSV format, it it is replaced with the name actual underscore flags, while other formats are not at all impacted. This change is made in journals data model so that balance type parameter is consistent with the column name in CSV report generated format. The balance type column is displayed immediately after the batch description in the CSV file. The next feature is from the intercompany module, which is intercompany transactions import error correction spreadsheet. We can correct imported intercompany transactions that ended in error using intercompany transactions import error correction spreadsheet. We can navigate to intercompany transactions task, correct import error tab, and click on specific request ID to download the spreadsheet with transactions that ended in error. This spreadsheet even contains error messages or reasons for the rejections. It allows us to review errors and correct them directly in the spreadsheet itself. Before this update, users had to repeat the import process after fixing the transaction source, and it potentially takes the more efforts and time. Once all the errors are corrected by users, we can import the spreadsheet, and this feature has a high level of impact and is a quick win. Transaction header and event public entity object file identifier attributes in subledger transaction headers and subledger accounting events. New attributes are added in subledger accounting events and subledger transaction header view objects. These attributes are event PEO file identifier and transaction header file identifier. These are object storage identifiers of data file. This increases efficiency in tracing the source of accounting hub transaction to its relevant details. Next one is the translated subledger application extract public view object. We can now get information in subledger applications registered in Accounting Hub in multiple languages using the translated subledger applications view object. This object is actually based on XLA underscore subledgers TL table. Next upgrade is from expenses area, which is expense template and payment method selection in expenses mobile applications. We can now select expense template from drop down in add expenses screen and payment method from drop down available in view report screen. While creating expense report using expense mobile application. Prior to this update, template selection was done from settings screen, which is now removed. The default expense template remains the last template used. In order to have a payment method selection available, a user with financial application administrator role must enable the payment method option in manage expense system options task from setup and maintenance. Next update is from payables area, which is accounting configuration for lease accounting invoices and payables based on lease and property details. We can configure accounting rules for lease accounting invoices and payables based on leases and property details. The following lease accounting information is available on payables invoices. For example, lease number, lease type, payment purpose, payments type, and etc. So in total, there are 21 fields. So that payables invoices are consistent with lease accounting transactions, and it helps to reduce the compliance risk as well. Tax calculation based on one-time location for purchase order matched invoices. The requester may specify a one-time delivery address which is not attached to any of the organization's internal locations. For example, an employee working remotely may create a requisition for an item or equipment to be delivered to their respective home address. Then in that case, invoices matched to that particular purchase order will use this one-time location for calculating the taxes. This ensures tax calculation is based on the actual delivery location mentioned in the purchase order. Next is from the receivables area, transaction sweep to future accounting period using a schedule process. At the time of period closure, for review of invalid transactions and to sweep them to a future accounting period, we can use sweep receivables transactions to another period. This process should be used in conjunction with other processes, activities, or reports. The process can be run for a single ledger with another relevant parameters like from date or to date. And we can see another parameter which is execution time parameter, which have two options. The first one is to review transactions information without sweep. This should be selected in case we need to review the transactions which are invalid without sweeping them to the next subsequent period. And the second option is the sweep transactions to next accounting period. Users can run this process to actually sweep the transactions to a subsequent period. This helps to timely closure of receivables accounting period, and if the ledger is unable for the chronological document sequencing, then in that case we cannot run the sweep receivables transaction process. and manage receivables period close exceptions privilege is now added to accounts receivables manager role. The last feature from this category is translated display of transaction type, transaction source, and receipt method. Now we can display the transaction type, transaction source, and receipt method in local languages on our receivables UIs. To achieve this, we need to update the ORA underscore AR underscore translated transaction type, ORA underscore AR translated underscore transaction source, ORA underscore AR underscore translated receipt method. Lookup types with the translated these three lookup types needs to be updated with the translated name in the meaning field and the translated description of transaction type, transaction source, and receipt method in the description field respectively. So our next category of features is opt-ins, which means the features which needs to be enabled. So the first feature from this category is from the common area, which is workflow transaction console for account coding workflow. Now workflow transaction console can be used to monitor workflow tasks and resolve exceptions for account coding workflow. Transaction console can be used to view the status of account coding workflow task and also help to search based on task. Also, we can download the search results, also review the issue and resolve the failed results. It also helps to recover failed task for account coding workflow. To enable this feature, we need to go to setup and maintenance, manage enterprise HCM information, click on edit and correct. In the transaction console information selection, we need to select and enable the transaction security. To enable this feature, we need to have access to financial application administrator role. The next feature is from the receivables area, which is lease accounting integration with receivables for revenue leases. We can use receivables to process billing and accounting of revenue lease accruals. This helps to generate invoices in receivables area and delivery of those invoices to customers using the receivables delivery methods, for example, paper, email, or XML. This helps to process customer payments and manage accounts, receivables balances, and period closure reconciliations using receivables. ORA lease credits have been introduced as a transaction type, and ORA lease accounting transaction has been introduced as the transaction source. This also helps to view the reconciliation receivables transaction info in the lease accounting area. Next update is from the expenses module, which is enforcement of limits for entertainment policies based on employee grade. We can enable single, daily, or yearly limits that can be applied on entertainment expenses based on the employee grades assigned to the employees of a respective organization. Admin user can enable this using manage policies by expense categories task. To configure this, admin needs to select employee and role as the rate determinants. After enabling this, admin can define rates for each category of employee grades. This allows flexible control on the business expenses incurred by the respective employees. To define policies, we need to have expenses manager or application implementation consultant role. Moving on to the next category of features, which are not quick wins, which means a significant amount of time and effort is required by users to enable these features. The first one in this category is from the assets module, which is capitalization of fixed assets for inventory, destination, receipts in the procurement process. This feature is for customers whose capitalization policy dictates that they can capitalize some category of assets as and when they are received. Assets with destination type of inventory can be capitalized as and when they received, so that depreciation expenses are booked on timely basis and there is no delay. This works with multiple reporting currencies and establishes an automatic relationship between maintenance asset and the associated fixed assets without any manual intervention. This feature can be enabled from setup and maintenance, capitalize fixed asset upon purchase receipt to inventory destination. And only purchase orders after enabling this feature will be eligible to work with this feature, which means this feature will work prospectively, not retrospectively. And we need to ensure that create fixed asset at receipt option is enabled. Also, we need to ensure destination type is inventory and accrue at receipt option is enabled on purchase orders. But for such assets, users cannot merge or split any lines on the edit asset on the assets page. The next feature is from the lease accounting module, which is lease property definition using file based data import. Many companies have multiple leases that include properties such as buildings, floors, and offices, including specific property information of the leases and lease invoices as well. Now we can upload that info property information using the file based data import. As we can see in the screenshot, property details are added on the leases. This improves the billing transparency and collection time and reduces data entry time. Also, this feature is no longer opt-in with a 24A upgrade. Next feature is from the payables area, which is matching of invoices to negative purchase order lines with supplier credits using a REST API. If any item or equipment is traded in discount agreed upon, purchase negotiations are created as negative lines on the purchase order, we can match that invoice to negative lines in the purchase order to record the supplier credits. This feature was actually introduced in 23A and further updated in 23B upgrade by adding support for suppliers to create invoices. And now in 23C, it adds the ability to create matched invoices to negative purchase order lines via REST API. So this actually completes this offering or feature with the inclusion of a REST API, and we cannot match prepayment invoices to negative lines. Users with access to accounts payables supervisor account or accounts payable specialist role can access this feature. The last feature in this category is from payables area, which is management of invoices enabled for funds reservation using a REST API. Invoices that are subject to funds reservation can be managed using a REST API. This REST API includes following actions for budget related attributes, which is action for attribute fund status and post and patch action for attribute budget date. This improves the productivity and efficiency effectively. Business rules are actually business rules are equally applicable to both the UIs and REST API. Users with access to accounts payable invoice supervisor and accounts payable supervisor or accounts payable manager role can access this feature. So that is it from my side. Thank you. Over to you, Hardik.
Hey, Kanika, thank you for these wonderful insights. So let's check if we have any questions in the Q&A. Meenakshi, if you can please unmute yourself and reconfirm.
Uh, Hi, Hardik. There's no question yet. If attendees have any question, they may ask.
Okay, no worries at all. If you do have a question even at a later stage, you can reach out to the respective support managers or the service managers, please. Yeah, so we have upcoming session supply chain in an hour time. Then we have a talent management, HR help desk, ORC from HCM. Then we have supply chain invention, order management as well this week. Just before you all leave us, we'd like to keep you informed that we'll be sending you a presentation recording, the entire session recording along with the presentation PDF by this weekend. It will be available to you at a single click on your email. Please do look out for it. And yeah, and just before you all again leave us, just would like to have a quick feedback on, please rate your overall experience of today's session, 1 being lowest, 5 being highest, so that we can improve based on your feedback, please. There's a question, and if you can please check. And actually, yeah, we'll be closing the poll now. Thank you so much once again, everyone, for attending today's session. And Meenakshi, if you can please take the question one-to-one, or if you would like to speak, please reconfirm.
I'll provide the answer one-on-one.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much. And if you still have any questions, you can write to the connect with respective support manager, and we'll connect you even at a later stage. So once again, we would like to thank you everyone for this, sparing time for this session. Thank you.